The Lost Cloud Ship. In a city where streets shimmered with holographic projections and skyscrapers pierced the very fabric of the sky, their tips often lost in the perpetual embrace of the clouds, lived a boy named Tommy. His apartment was on the 87th floor, and his window, a vast pane of reinforced synthglass, offered a panoramic view of the ceaseless urban sprawl below and the endless, captivating expanse above. Unlike most kids his age, who were glued to their personal VR pods or racing gleaming hoverboards through intricate urban mazes, Tommy found his gaze constantly drawn upward. He'd spend hours at his window, a tiny silhouette against the vast expanse of the cityscape, watching the endless drift of pearlescent mist and the occasional glimpse of stratospheric wind currents. His heart yearned for the boundless, uncharted territories he felt certain lay hidden beyond the cloud veil, promising secrets and wonders yet to be discovered. His school lessons, filled with data streams and historical facts, often bored him. His true education came from poring over faded diagrams of ancient airships and dreaming of horizons far beyond the city limits. Tommy's best friend, and often his only confidant, was Cody, a raven, but no ordinary one. Cody was a talking raven, his feathers the color of a moonless night, and his bead-like eyes held the glint of distant stars. He wasn't just gifted with speech, Cody possessed an uncanny wisdom and a dry wit that often caught Tommy by surprise. He'd perch on Tommy's shoulder as he devoured old, musty books from the city's forgotten digital archives, or thoughtfully cock his head as Tommy shared his elaborate fantasies of aerial voyages. Cody wasn't just a bird, he was the keeper of Tommy's secret dreams and his loyal companion in his boldest imaginings, often grounding Tommy's flights of fancy with a dose of realistic, albeit cynical, commentary. One lazy afternoon, while rummaging through the dusty attic of his grandmother's quaint, old-fashioned house, a relic in a city obsessed with the new, a place that smelled of aged paper, forgotten tales, and the faint scent of lavender, Tommy stumbled upon a yellowed, brittle map. It was frail, almost crumbling to the touch, adorned with intricate, faded patterns and barely legible, copperplate script. At its very center was a breathtaking illustration, a colossal vessel, not unlike an ancient sailing ship, with billowing sails made of what looked like solidified light, gracefully suspended amidst billowy clouds. Above it, a whimsical inscription, barely visible, read, "The Lost Cloud Ship." Legend had it that this mythical vessel, a marvel of forgotten engineering, had once sailed the boundless aerial currents long ago, carrying pioneers to new sky islands, before vanishing without a trace. Some whispered it had simply dissolved into the clouds, others claimed it was a guardian of the heavens. Tommy's heart hammered in his chest with a furious rhythm. This wasn't just a map, it was the key to his deepest dream, a tangible piece of evidence that his wildest fantasies might, in fact, have a real-world counterpart. "Cody, look!" Tommy whispered, his hands trembling slightly as he unfolded the delicate map, careful not to tear its fragile edges. The raven tilted his head, his sharp eyes scanning the ancient parchment. Old paper," he croaked, his voice a gravelly whisper. "Looks intriguing. Smells of adventure. And a little like forgotten dreams. And dust bunnies, naturally." Tommy rushed to show the map to his next-door neighbor, Annie. Annie lived in the apartment right across the hall, and her room was less a bedroom and more a chaotic workshop, filled with the constant whirring of tiny gears, tangled masses of glowing wires, and blueprints for improbable machines that often threatened to take over the entire space. The distinct aroma of soldering fumes mingled perpetually with freshly brewed coffee, a testament to her endless late-night projects. She was a couple of years older than Tommy, with bright, inquisitive eyes behind smudged safety goggles, and her mind worked faster than the most powerful quantum computer, effortlessly solving complex technical challenges that stumped even adult engineers. She had a knack for seeing possibilities where others saw only junk. The lost cloud ship? Annie traced the faded lines on the map with a curious finger, her brow furrowed in concentration. Her eyes, usually focused on intricate schematics and circuit diagrams, now alight with a thrilling mix of skepticism and wonder. This is amazing. But how would we even get there? You can't just fly into the clouds on a prayer, Tommy. We need a proper machine. We'll build our own flying machine. Tommy blurted out, his eyes shining with the wild, alluring gleam of an impossible adventure. He was brimming with conviction and an unwavering belief in their success, fueled by the map's silent promise. You're the best inventor I know, Annie. We can do this. The next few weeks became a blur of frantic activity, a symphony of sounds, the rhythmic clang of metal on metal, the insistent screech of cutting tools, the low hum of concentrated thought, and the triumphant buzz of newly activated circuits. Annie meticulously drafted complex schematics on her holographic display, calculating lift ratios to the finest detail and painstakingly selecting materials, scrutinizing their strength-to-weight ratio and resilience to atmospheric pressures. Tommy assisted her tirelessly, his small hands becoming adept at tightening bolts, stripping wires, and, of course, offering enthusiastic encouragement whenever Annie grew tired or hit a technical snag. He learned quickly, absorbing every detail like a sponge. Cody, ever the proud co-pilot, circled above them, occasionally interjecting with wise advice like, "More nuts, Tommy. I like nuts, too," or, "Are you sure this thing will fly, Annie? Because I'm already envisioning us plummeting into a lake of sticky syrup. Or maybe a giant pile of pizza, that wouldn't be so bad." They scavenged for anything they could use. Discarded parts from broken city drones became part of the frame. Abandoned high-density motors from ancient delivery vehicles were repurposed for propulsion. Even the tattered, surprisingly durable fabric from an old, forgotten advertising blimp became part of the main wing. Their flying machine, which they lovingly christened the Sky Wanderer, looked a bit clumsy, with its asymmetrical wings, exposed wires, and jury-rigged controls, but it was brimming with hope and determination, a tangible embodiment of their shared dream. Annie's ingenuity was evident in every cobbled-together component, and Tommy's fervent belief seemed to power its very existence. Finally, the day of their departure arrived. It was a Tuesday evening, a night when the city's usual drone traffic was lighter, allowing for a stealthy launch. Under the cloak of twilight, as the last rays of the setting sun painted the sky in fiery oranges and purples that streaked across the highest cloud layers, they stealthily made their way to the rooftop of the tallest, abandoned skyscraper in their district, a forgotten spire that offered an unobstructed launch point. The Sky Wanderer awaited them, its repurposed propellers gleaming faintly in the reflected city lights, like eager fireflies ready for flight. Tommy, his heart pounding a nervous but exhilarating rhythm, took his place in the pilot's seat, his hands gripping the controls firmly. Annie sat beside him, meticulous as ever, meticulously checking instrument readings on a series of salvaged data pads and ensuring every component was securely in place. Cody, ever the proud co-pilot, settled onto the steering yoke, his feathers puffed out, his eyes gleaming, as if he were the true, seasoned captain of this grand expedition. "Ready, Tommy?" Annie asked, her voice tinged with a thrilling blend of excitement and a hint of nervousness that betrayed her usually unflappable demeanor, as she pressed the final ignition button. The hum of the repurposed motors grew louder. "Ready, Annie?" Tommy exclaimed, his voice cracking slightly with anticipation, and with a software that steadily grew into a powerful, resonant hum. The Sky Wanderer gently lifted off the ground, a little wobbly at first, then steadying itself. They ascended higher and higher, leaving the familiar glow of the city behind. The city's towering buildings became tiny pinpricks of light, then vanished altogether. They climbed above the lower clouds, past the wisps of fog that always clung to the city's peaks, and into a world Tommy had only ever dared to dream of. It was breathtakingly magnificent. The air up here was crisp and clean, infused with the faint, invigorating scent of ozone and the distant, cold breath of outer space. Below them, the city lights blurred into a diffused glow, then disappeared, leaving only the vast, star-studded canvas of the night sky above and the endless, softly illuminated expanse of the cloud sea below. The wind, a playful companion, now a roaring current, caressed their faces, and they felt an exhilarating sense of freedom, unlike anything they had ever experienced on solid ground. But their grand adventure had only just begun. Their map, though ancient, led them deeper into the unexplored regions of the sky. Soon, they encountered their first significant challenge. Emerging from a swirling curtain of mist, as if from nowhere, appeared the Sky Pirates, a motley crew of gruff yet surprisingly jovial rogues on their rust-eaten airships, their sails patched with mismatched fabric, adorned with tattered flags emblazoned with crude skulls and crossbones. They were a legendary nuisance, known for their daring raids on cargo blimps. These pirates, led by a boisterous woman named Captain Red Sky Rita, intended to seize the Sky Wanderer, foolishly believing it was laden with valuable cargo due to its unusual appearance. Tommy and Annie, forced to think on their feet, combined their quick wits and burgeoning piloting skills to outmaneuver the larger, slower pirate vessels. Annie, with a mischievous grin, deployed improvised evasive maneuvers, activating smoke screens made from harmless vapor and blinding light bursts salvaged from old searchlights, disrupting the pirates' vision. Tommy, his reflexes sharp, skillfully guided their craft away from grappling hooks, weaving expertly between the menacing pirate vessels, performing daring aerial stunts. Cody, not to be outdone, perched on Tommy's shoulder, letting out a series of loud, startling squawks, mimicking the calls of formidable birds of prey and even the screech of a malfunctioning engine, effectively distracting the pirates and causing a momentary panic among their ranks. After a thrilling aerial chase, they managed to lose the pirates in a dense cloud bank, leaving them sputtering in their wake. Their journey continued, the old map guiding them through uncharted atmospheric currents. It led them to an awe-inspiring encounter with the sky whales, colossal, ethereal creatures that floated gracefully through the upper atmospheric currents, sustaining themselves by consuming wisps of clouds and filtering the pure air. They were so immense that the sky wanderer seemed like a minuscule speck beside them, barely a barnacle on their vast hides. Their skin shimmered with iridescent hues of blue and gray, catching the starlight, and their movements were slow, deliberate, and exquisitely graceful, like an ancient, silent ballet performed across the vast canvas of the sky. Tommy and Annie were utterly mesmerized by their beauty and serene presence, flying so close they could hear the deep, resonant hum of their calls, echoing mysteriously through the heavens. One young sky whale, curious about their little craft, gently nudged the sky wanderer with its enormous snout, sending a playful ripple through their small vessel, a moment of pure, unadulterated wonder. But the most astonishing discovery was yet to come: the Cloud City. The map indicated a heart of the sky, and after days of travel, navigating through treacherous updrafts and bewildering cloud formations, they saw it. It was a metropolis built upon colossal, buoyant islands, woven from dense, stable cloud formations, some sparkling with embedded crystals, interconnected by elegant bridges crafted from pure, shimmering light. Its inhabitants were ethereal and light, almost translucent, with skin that glowed softly and eyes like distant stars, adorned in garments woven from clouds and starlight, moving with a silent grace. They called themselves the Aryans. The Aryans, initially cautious, greeted Tommy and Annie with a mix of wonder and keen interest, their faces glowing with kindness and ancient wisdom. They were a peaceful people, living in harmony with the skies. The elders of the Cloud City shared tales of the lost cloud ship, not as a literal vessel to be found on a map, but as an ancient symbol of dreams, aspiration, and the inherent drive within all sentient beings to explore the unknown. They explained that it represented the inner journey each individual must undertake to discover true happiness and purpose, to find their place in the vastness of existence. It was a metaphor, a legend passed down through generations, signifying the courage to follow one's deepest yearnings. It was in this luminous city, surrounded by the gentle wisdom of the Aryans, that Tommy truly understood that the legendary lost cloud ship wasn't just a physical vessel marked on an old, forgotten map. It was, in fact, his own dream, his unwavering belief in the impossible, that had propelled him on this incredible journey. It was the profound realization that the greatest treasures weren't found externally, in material objects or mythical ships, but resided deep within one's own spirit, in the courage to explore, to create, and to connect. And though they never discovered a physical ship, they found something infinitely more valuable, a deeper understanding of the boundless power of dreams, the unwavering strength of friendship, and the limitless potential of their own imagination. The journey had transformed them. On their long return journey, as the sky wanderer slowly and gently descended towards their familiar city, now a welcoming beacon of light below, bathed in the warm, fading glow of the sunset, Tommy looked at Annie. "Thank you," he said, his voice brimming with genuine gratitude, a maturity in his tone that hadn't been there before. "I never would have been able to embark on this adventure without you, Annie. You made it real." Annie smiled, her eyes sparkling with the shared thrill of their experiences, a newfound confidence radiating from her. "None of this would have happened without your dream, Tommy. You ignited the spark. You dared to look up when everyone else looked down. Cody, comfortably perched on the steering yoke, his black feathers ruffled by the wind, proudly croaked, "And without me, you two would have definitely gotten lost and, probably, been eaten by some grumpy sky whale. Or worse, forced to listen to pirate shanties for eternity." Tommy and Annie laughed, a sound of pure joy and shared triumph echoing through the descending evening air. They now fully understood that friendship, true, unwavering friendship, was the most powerful engine for any adventure, capable of overcoming any obstacle, be it fierce pirates or bewildering atmospheric currents. And that inventiveness and imagination, when combined, could open doors to the most incredible worlds, transforming dreams into reality. Upon their return home, exhausted but exhilarated, they were no longer just Tommy and Annie, the dream-filled boy and the brilliant inventor. They were seasoned explorers of the heavens, victorious over sky pirates, and most importantly, friends who had proven that true adventures don't begin on dusty maps, but in a heart brimming with dreams and an insatiable desire to explore the unknown. Their world now felt infinitely wider and brighter, filled with a magic they had brought to life themselves, knowing that the greatest journeys were those they dared to create together.